My name is Isabelle Smith. I chose this name myself. Smith is my mother's name. I picked Isabelle after going through a whole book of English names. It means God's promise. But I don't believe in God. I just refuse to keep the name that man gave me. He was my father, a man who lost everything on Wall Street and jumped to his death. That's all I know. I was 10 at his funeral, standing in the very last row. No one handed me a tissue. I wore a black dress a neighbor bought from a thrust store. It was 2 sizes too big with frayed cuffs. The priest's prayer blew right past my ears like the wind. I didn't take in a single word. Later, I put myself through college on scholarships, talked my way onto Wall Street with my wits, and worked like hell to become a quantum analyst. My model delivered a 37% annual return. My boss called me the money printer. They called me a genius. But geniuses don't live in a basement in Queens. Leaky ceiling, landlord tried fixing it 3 times and failed. Geniuses don't eat sandwiches on the subway for dinner, picking crumbs out of their keyboard with a toothpick and getting back to work. Geniuses don't shake so hard they can barely hold the phone when the hospital calls.
Miss Isabelle, your mother needs a liver transplant. The cost is $5 million. Insurance won't cover it.
That voice sounded like it came from miles away, or from deep inside my own body. I stood at the subway exit, wind cutting into my collar, cold as a knife. 5 million. All my savings, my mom's house, my next 10 years of salary, none of it added up. But I couldn't let her die. She was my only family, the woman who raised me alone after my father was gone. She'd grown thin, her hair turned white, her eyes soaken. But every time I visited, she smiled and said, "Isabelle, you're too skinny. Eat more." I spent a month crunching numbers. Loan hoss, selling a kidney, marrying a rich guy. I didn't even seriously consider the first 2. The third, I've screened my labo in my face. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for a long time. Then I typed, "The richest bachelors in New York." First result, first name, Sebastian Black, head of Black Group, 32 years old, worth billions, never linked to any scandal. Not because he was a saint, because he didn't need one. He needed an heir. A condition in the Black family trust. The heir must marry and have a child before 35, or the entire fortune goes to charity. He had 3 years left. I have no idea how he found me. Maybe through a headhunter, maybe my work email. His lawyer showed up at my office on a rainy day. Gray suit, black umbrella, not a single drop on his shoes. He slipped a contract across my desk, gold lettering on the cover like a hardcover book.
Miss Smith, Mr. Black is offering you a 3-year marriage contract. The payout is $5 million.
I stared at him, not answering right way. Not because I hesitated, because I could barely. It was a scam, a joke, a hallucination, being too tired. But the rain outside was real. The words on the contract were real. The lawyer's breathing was real.
During the term, you'll live in his apartment, attend required public events, and never reveal the true nature of this marriage. When the contract ends, you'll receive $5 million and a Manhattan condo.
I picked up the pen and flipped through the contract. Over 300 pages of tense legal jargon. I didn't finish it. I didn't need to. Only one thing mattered: when the money would hit.
Now,
The lawyer slid a signed, stamped check across the desk. I folded it and pressed it to my chest. Thin paper, but burning hot, like a branding iron. The wedding was at City Hall. No flowers, no music, no guests. 2 witnesses, 2 lawyers, 1 priest. I wore a used wedding dress, stained at the neck, yellowed lace, bought for $35 at a Brooklyn thrift store. I'd once imagined it for my real wedding. Central Park lawn, perfect sunshine, a violinist playing. Now it was being used. But no sun, no lawn, no violin. Sebastian stood across from me in a black suit. He looked better than his photos, or the photos were just bad. His eyes were dark gray, like a frozen lake in winter. Thin lips, pressed tight, no expression at all. His hair was perfectly combed, not a strand out of place. Just like him, precise, restrained, flawless.
do you take Isabelle to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
His voice was flat, like he was reading a contract.
Isabelle, do you take Sebastian to be your lawfully wedded husband?
I looked at the contract in the lawyer's hand. The $5 million was already in the hospital account. My mom's surgery was tomorrow morning. I do.
So, place the ring on her finger.
When we exchanged rings, his fingers were slender. The ring was a little tight. I had to push hard to get it on. He placed the ring on my finger gently. His fin tip brushed my hand, cold as glass. I stared at the ring, a plain platinum band, no design, no engraving, like a washer.
You may kiss the bride.
He hesitated for a few seconds. I saw his Adam's knuckle bomb. Then he leaned down and kissed my forehead. Not my lips, my forehead. Light as snowflakes landing on skin, barely there at all. After the wedding, he got into his black Maybach. I got into a taxi.
Ma'am, where to?
The hospital. My mother's in the ICU. We drove over the Manhattan Bridge. The river below was gray and foggy. I looked down at the ring on my finger, twist it. It was a little loose. Mom's surgery was a success. When she opened her eyes in the recovery room, night had fallen. Only one bedside lamp was on, its warm glow turning her face into an old photograph. I held her hand. It was thin, bony, but warm.
Isabelle, where did you get the money? Who did you marry?
Someone good. She didn't push. She never asked about things I didn't want to talk about. That night, I sat on a bench in the hospital corridor all night. It was quiet. A nurse rolled a medicine cart past now and then, its wheels making a soft sound on the floor. I stared at the fluorescent light on the ceiling. One bulb was flickering, and it didn't burn out for a long time. My phone lit up from a text from an unknown number. It was his lawyer. Mr. Black asks me to inform you that you must move into his apartment tonight. The media may take photos, so you need to live together. Below is the address and the digital lock code. The apartment was in the tallest residential building in Manhattan, the top floor. The elevator required fingerprint recognition, and mine was already in the system. When the doors opened, I froze. The entrance was dim, only one wall lamp on. The living room was huge. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the entire Manhattan skyline, Empire State Building, World Trade Center, Central Park greenery, all under our feet. The lights outside looked like an upside-down starry sky, endless and dense. But the decor was minimalist. Black, white, gray, no fourth color. No paintings, no photos, no trace of a human being on the walls. Nothing on the coffee table, not even a magazine. The kitchen counter was bare. No spices, no bowls. Like no one had ever cooked there. It wasn't a home. It was a showroom. A model apartment waiting to be auctioned. He was away on business. A short-haired woman greeted me, his assistant, in a professional suit, with a face as cold as his. She showed me around the house, opening one door after another with one sentence each time.
This is the living room. This is the dining room. This is the study.
This is your room, the guest room, next to the master bedroom. The sheets were gray, the pillows gray, without a single wrinkle. A few women's clothes in my size hung in the closet, tags still on. He didn't buy them, his assistant did. He wouldn't waste time on things like that. That night I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, blank. No cracks, no lines, nothing. No sound from next door, no footsteps. He wasn't even home. This $100 million apartment was as quiet as a tomb. This $100 million apartment was as quiet as a tomb. I tossed and turned, replaying one image in my head. Mom looking back at me as they wheeled her into the operating room. She didn't speak, but her lips moved. Later, I guessed she was saying thank you. The next morning, there was a cup of coffee, a sandwich, and a note on the dining table. Breakfast. I have a dinner event tonight. Won't be home for dinner. No signature, no greeting. I picked up the coffee. It was cold. We barely spoke those days. We could count our words on one hand. Good morning, good night, keys are in the drawer. Thanks. Coffee is on the table, okay. Sometimes we passed each other in the hallway. He'd step aside slightly, but never look at me. His eyes were always fixed ahead, like he was searching for something, or avoiding it. Once I carried a glass of water out of the kitchen, and he walked out of the studio. We met in the middle of the hallway. He paused, stepped sideways, his back against the wall. As I walked past, I caught his scent. Not cologne, but faint laundry detergent, like fresh grass after rain. Late that night, I heard the door open, heavy footsteps, then the sound of a bottle rolling, then a dull thump of bone hitting wood. I opened the door and saw him sitting on the floor, leaning against the hallway wall, head buried in his knees. The air smelled of whiskey, strong like an entire bottle had been spilled. He was curled up into a ball, like a cat soaked in the rain. I knelt down.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Go back.
You're drunk.
I know.
I tried to help him up, reaching for his arm. He pushed my hand away.
I said I'm fine.
His palm was hot, his grip strong, like he was using all his strength to refuse. He pushed himself up against the wall, swaying like a tree blown sideways by the wind. I reached out instinctively to stable him, but he had already balanced himself. He walked into the master bedroom and closed the door. It wasn't locked, but I didn't follow. I was his contract bride, not his wife. The contract was clear. In the middle of the night, I was woken up by the sound of him throwing up. It came from the master bathroom, wave after wave, lasting a long time. That sound twisted my stomach. Not ordinary nausea, but his body forcing something out, like he was trying to vomit himself up. I poured a glass of warm water, left it at his door, knocked, then went back to my room. The hallway floor was cold. I walked back barefoot, my toes icy as stone. When I got up this morning, the cup outside his door was empty. But inside the trash can, there was a new addition. An empty wine bottle. It was green, bearing a foreign language label, and traces of a deep amber liquid still cling to its rim. His mother came that weekend. I'll never forget the sunlight that afternoon, pouring through the floor-to-ceiling windows, blinding bright, like melted gold on the floor. Dust particles spun slowly in the light, like tiny planets. I was reading in the living room when the doorbell rang. Wearing an old sweatshirt and sweatpants, my hair tied up loosely, a few strands falling by my face. I opened the door. A woman in a Chanel suit stood there, carrying an Hermes bag, wearing high heels that clicked sharply on the marble floor. Her hair was perfectly styled, not a strand out of waist. No wrinkles on her face, but her eyes held a scrutinizing look, like appraising a fake antique. She looked me up and down, her gaze pausing on my old sweatshirt for a short second, then moving to my face.
You're Isabelle?
Hello, Mrs. Black.
Don't call me Auntie, call me Mrs. Black.
She walked past me, her heels clicking crisply in the entrance, each step like a nail driven into the floor. She looked around the living room, sofa, chalk table, floor-to-ceiling windows, her gaze critical, as if every corner wasn't clean enough.
Do you know why my son married you?
I do.
Then you know you're just a stand-in? Not his stand-in, the family's stand-in. He needs a wife to meet the inheritance conditions. When your job is done, you can leave.
The contract doesn't specify the job details.
The contract can be amended.
I won't sign it. She stood up, straightened her skirt, and looked down at me. Her shadow fell over me, covering me completely. Her lips were painted deep red, like a fresh cut.
You will sign it, because you have no choice. By the way, was your mother's surgery successful? I hope she recovers soon. The daughter-in-law of the Black family can't be held back by her maternal family.
The sound of her heels echoed in the hallway for a long time, like nails being hammered into the floor one by one. I stood in the living room. The sun was on me, but I felt cold. Cold from the inside out, from my bones. He came back that night. I was waiting for him in the living room in pajamas with a coat over them, sitting on the sofa. The TV was on, but muted, pictures flashing. I wasn't watching anything. Mother came today.
I know.
She asked if we could have dinner together next week.
Ignore her.
We didn't talk about that before.
We didn't?
Will you change it?
No.
He walked into the study and closed the door. I heard the click of the lock, then the sound of a chair being pulled out. The light went out. Only neon light from outside seeped through the blinds, striping the floor like a pool of blood. I sat in the living room until the TV screen turned to static. My body started feeling strange. I gagged when brushing my teeth in the morning. The toothbrush barely touched my tongue, and my stomach churmed, acid rising to my throat. The smell of baking from the coffee shop made me nauseous. It used to be my favorite smell. Now it smelled like rancid oil. Someone ate an egg sandwich on the subway. I had to get off 2 stops early, squat by the trash can on the platform, and dry hoot for a while. I felt so sick. I thought it was just stress. I'd lost 8 pounds in a month, a clear hollow under my collarbone. I couldn't sleep at night, and I still had to visit Mom and in the hospital during the day. The nurse said I looked pale, asked if I hadn't eaten. I said I had, but I hadn't. I walked into a pharmacy on a whim and bought a pregnancy test. The cashier was a young girl with glasses. She glanced at me and said nothing. I stuffed the box into my coat pocket and walked home, my heart racing the whole way. 2 lines. I came out of the bathroom and slid down the wall to the floor. The tile was cold, even through my pajamas. I held the white plastic stick. The 2 red lines were as clear as if carved with a knife. It can't be. He never touched me. The contract was clear. It was his own draft. He crossed out every clause involving physical contact.
Got a business trip. Back in a few days.
He went on a business trip ahead of every so-called intimacy day. I once thought he hated me, or hated women, or hated everyone. But those 2 lines told me someone had touched me. When I didn't know. When I was unconscious. I placed the test on the dining table. White table, white stick, 2 red lines like 2 silent witnesses. I waited for him to come home. The door lock clicked at 1 a.m. He pushed the door open, saw the light on in the living room, saw me sitting at the table, saw the thing on it.
Is that yours? You're pregnant?
Yes.
Who's the father?
Yours. A long silence. The kitchen clock ticked, like a countdown. The fridge compressor hummed for a while, then stopped. Manhattan was bright outside, but only one dining lamp was on inside, wrapping the 2 of us in its glow.
I never touched you. You know that.
I know. So you tell me, who is the father?
I didn't touch you. But someone else did.
Who?
Nick. My half-brother.
Your brother?
His mother was the one who broke my family apart. After my father died, I removed him from the family. He's been waiting for a chance to get revenge, framing you and laking false rumors to the media. His goal isn't to hurt you. It's to destroy the Black Group's reputation. Black Group chairman's wife caught in a fabricated scheme with his own brother. How much damage would that headline cause?
What are you going to do?
Terminate it.
No.
Why?
Because it's a life, not your tool.
That's his child. Are you sure you want to keep it?
I don't know whose child it is, but it's in my belly. It's mine.
If you keep it, it will become Nick's tool. He'll use this child to control you, to control me.
So you're just going to let him win? He was silent. For a long time, a plane flew by outside. Its red indicator light blinked in the night sky, like a heartbeat.
I need time.
Nick didn't give me time. He didn't give Sebastian time either. The next morning, my phone was bombarded with messages. Notifications popped up one after another, too many to keep up with. Someone anonymously leaked on social media, a Vlak group donchidant prayun with brother's child. No evidence, no photos, only a sources close to the matter, but that was enough. The stock opened down 8%. Financial analysts shook their heads on camera, saying Black Group face a crisis of confidence. Reporters blocked the company entrance, flashes going off non-stop. Security had to put up a barricade. Sebastian didn't go to work. He locked himself in the study and was on the phone all morning. I sat in the living room. Through the closed door, I heard his voice. Low, urgent, occasionally raised like someone bargaining on the edge of a cliff.
I see.
Then silence again. He looked terrible when he came out. The dark circles under his eyes were darker. His shirt was unbuttoned at the neck. His tie was gone. He walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and drank it in one gulp, his atom joint bobbling. He said, setting the glass down, his voice harny.
I found out.
That DNA report, Nick already has it. He's going to release it at tomorrow's press conference.
My fingers turned cold, so cold I could barely hold my water glass. I set the cup down. The base clicked sharply on the marble counter. How did you get this information?
Doesn't matter.
What do you want me to do?
Admit the father's your ex-boyfriend.
Which ex-boyfriend?
Make one up.
Sebastian, I don't want to lie.
You already are. The day you signed the contract, you started lying.
He was right. I lowered my head, my bangs covering my eyes. The soup in the bowl was cold. Oil had congealed on the surface, a thin film, like ice on a winter river.
I've had a statement prepared. You just need to read it.
He pushed a file bracket over. Beige cap paper, sealed with wax, stamped with the Black family crest, a lion and a rose. Opened it. 2 pages, neatly printed in a formal searing font. It listed my ex-boyfriend's name, background, timeline of how we met, every detail perfectly fabricated. He was even good at this. I held the 2 pages. The paper was smooth, the ink fresh, still warm from the printer. If I read this, what happens to Nick?
He loses all credibility. An unsubstantiated rumor plus a denial from the person involved, he'll have nothing.
What if he has other evidence? He glanced at me. It was a quick look, but I understood. He was saying we had to gamble. The press conference was held in the main hall of Black Group headquarters. The hall was huge, with marble floors so polished they reflected light. The crystal chandelier overhead looked like a waterfall. Hundreds of media outlets. The red lights on cameras were dense, like a sea of fire. Flashes exploded like an avalanche. No, like a bomb. Wave after wave, endless. Sebastian stood on stage. Black suit, white shirt, dark blue tie. His expression was calm, like still water. I sat next to him. There was someone else's child in my belly. No, not someone else's, mine. My hands rested on my knees, nailsing into my palms, the pain keeping me awake.
Mrs. Black, are you pregnant?
I looked at the camera. Those black lenses stared at me like countless eyes, dark, without pupils, but able to see through everything. Yes. Who is the father? He took the microphone. His fingers were steady, no tremor in his wrist.
I am.
The room erupted in gasps. Someone inhaled sharply. Keyboards clapped loudly. People stood up from their seats. Flashes became even more intense, like a downpour. But you've only been married 2 months. He took my hand. His fingers were cold, but steady, like cast in steel and concrete.
We've known each other longer. We just didn't go public.
Reporters in the audience bowed their heads and typed, fingers flying over keyboards. News stories were already on their way. No one pressed further. No one questioned. The word of a billionaire was worth more than the truth. After the press conference, we were escorted out by security. The corridor was long. Our footsteps echoed in the empty space. Nick didn't show up. He had no evidence left. His leak was ruled unsubstantiated rumor, his account temporarily suspended. But I knew he wouldn't give up. In the car, he leaned back and closed his eyes. Neon lights outside painted colorful shadows on his face. Red, blue, green, shifting like a silent fireworks show. It was the first time I thought he looked tired, not physically tired, but mentally tired. The kind that couldn't be fixed by a single sleep, rooted in his bones. What are you going to do about Nick?
I gave him a large sum of money. Told him to leave New York.
You bought off your enemy?
Not bought off. Making him understand that destroying me is pointless. He can take the money and start over. Staying here will only lead to mutual destruction.
Don't you hate me?
No,
Why?
because hating you is a waste of time.
Ultrasound examination. The exam room was dim. Only the machine screen was lit. The doctor applied cold, sticky gel to my belly. I flinched. The probe glided over my skin, projecting a gray and white image on the screen. 2 tiny shadows curled up, like 2 broad beans or 2 babies hugging in their sleep. Their outlines weren't clear yet, but you could see heads, bodies, limbs, like 2 small moons taking shape. Heartbeats came from the speaker, one fast, one slow, like a duet. The faster one was like a pony running. The slower one was like a drummer beating.
Congratulations, twins.
Sebastian stood next to the ultrasound machine, hands in his pockets. He didn't speak, but I noticed his fingers curled slightly in his pockets, like he was holding something. His Adam's dopin bobbed. The sun was shining brightly as we walked out of the hospital. Manhattan's sun was direct, unfiltered, hitting straight down. People walked on the street. No one looked at us. No one knew there were 2 heartbeats in my belly.
He suddenly spoke. It's not safe for you to live alone. I'll move next to you.
Aren't you already next door?
With a wall between us, not the same room. That afternoon, he had an old screen brought out of storage. He had it cleaned and moved into the bedroom. He placed the screen in the middle of the room, dividing it into 2 halves. I slept on the bed. He slept on the sofa.
He tossed and turned the first night. The sofa was too small. His legs couldn't stretch out, knees pressed against the armrest, ankles hanging over the edge. I heard him change positions several times, shoving a cushion under his waist, then taking it out, flipping his pillow over and back. Insomnia?
Yeah, I'll get used to it.
Are you comforting me?
Stating a fact.
A soft chocker came from the dark. Very short, very light, like wind over water, a leaf falling on snow. It was the first time he'd smiled in front of me. Morning sickness got worse that afternoon. Not just in the morning. Anytime, anywhere. I threw up everything I ate, even plain water. Once I tried eating plain conch. I'd barely swallowed 2 spoonfuls when my stomach twisted, and everything came back up. I felt emptied out after throwing up, slumped on the bathroom floor, forehead against the cold tile. He took time off work to stay home. His study computer was always on. I could see the numbers and graphs on the screen through the door. But he poked his head out every 30 minutes to check on me, like a vigilant owl. I knelt by the toilet puking for a long time till my stomach was empty, my throat stinging from the heartburn. His expression was serious, brows furrowed, lips slightly parred, like he was solving a complicated math problem. I don't know what to do either.
I know.
Know what?
I looked it up.
It listed foods and methods to relieve morning sickness. Ginger tea, soda crackers, small frequent meals, wrist pressure points, lemon water, mints, bananas, toast. He pulled a crumpled list out of his pocket, folded twice, edges frayed. The handwriting was neat, like his signature. Every word was written properly. Not even a punctuation mark was sloppy. When did you look this up?
Last night, after you fell asleep.
I stared at him, stunned. This man who couldn't even be bothered to say goodnight to his wife, researching pregnancy recipes on his phone in the middle of the night? This man who slammed his fists on the boardroom table and struck fear into his rivals, squatting on the bathroom floor with a crumpled list. This billionaire who never had to bow to anyone, staring at his phone late at night, copying down methods to relieve morning sickness word by word. That afternoon, he brought me a cup of ginger tea. It was strong. The ginger was cut into thin shreds, thinner than toothpicks. The knife work was too good for a first-time cook. The honey was just right. Not too sweet, not too plain, like it had been measured. His assistant didn't make it. He did. There was a layer of burnt residue on the bottom of the pot, black like a map. Ginger peels, honey wrappers, and a used knife were scattered on the stove. Thank you. He nodded, went back to the study, and closed the door. I held the ginger tea, sat on the sofa, and sipped it slowly. The spiciness of ginger and sweetness of honey mixed on my tongue. Warmth spread from my throat to my stomach. For the first time in a long while, I felt warmth in my body. My belly started to show. At first, just a small bump, like I'd swallow a small bowl. Then it looked like I was carrying a watermelon. Later, I couldn't see my toes when I walked, only my round belly. I went to the supermarket to buy groceries in a loose dress. Corn, tomatoes, eggs, into the shopping cart, pushing it along. A woman recognized me in the fresh produce section.
Mrs. Black, you're pregnant.
She wore a designer coat, dyed her hair a trendy pinkish brown, pushing a stroller with a matching designer bag charm hanging from it. She smiled warmly, but her eyes were sizing me up, from my hair to my belly to my shoes. I smiled and nodded. She glanced at my belly, then my face. Twins? Your belly is huge, I didn't explain. The entrance was piled high with delivery boxes when I got home, big and small stacked together, like a small mountain. He was opening packages, a utility knife slicing through tape neatly, opening boxes one by one. Cribs, strollers, baby bottles, diapers, baby monitors, pampers, bathtubs, thermometers, wipe warmers, 2 of everything. Foam packing peens scattered on the floor, white and crumbly, like a fresh snowfall. The air smelled of cardboard and plastic. When did you buy all this?
Online. I don't know how to pick them. My assistant helped choose.
We might not need them.
We will. I'm going to be a father.
He bent to pick up a box, his face appearing from behind it.
It's not a contractual obligation.
Then why?
Because they're children, not tools.
He carried the box into the nursery. I followed. He set the box on the floor, picked up a baby bottle, held it up to look at it, then put it back. I stood in the doorway watching his back. He squatted on the floor, stacking packs of diapers neatly into the cabinet, movements clumsy but earnest. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling on him, turned his black hair light brown. In that moment, I thought maybe this man wasn't just an iceberg. Maybe beneath the ice, something was melting. That night, he didn't go back to the sofa. He leaned back in the chair by the bed, closed his eyes. His breathing gradually became steady. His brows relaxed, his lips slightly parted. Moonlight fell on his face, were long, casting all fan-shaped shadow under his eyes. I watched him for a long time. Then I closed my eyes too. Nick was gone, but the nightmares weren't. In my dream, he stood by my bed, holding a syringe, the needle glinting cold. His face flickered in the dark like a faulty light. He smiled, showing his teeth, blood on them. I tried to scream but couldn't make a sound. My mouth was open, but my throat was stuffed with cotton. I tried to move but couldn't. My arms and legs were nailed to the bed. He was coming closer. The syringe was coming closer. The needle was 1 centimeter from my arm. I screamed awake, covered in cold sweat. My pajamas were soaked, sticking to my back, icy cold. My heart was pounding like it would jump out of my chest. I was breathing fast like I just ran 800 meters. He was sitting by the bed, holding my hand. His hand was warm, large, dry, with thin calluses. From working out or holding a pen, I didn't know. I didn't know when he'd come, or how long he'd been sitting there. A glass of warm water was on the nightstand, still steaming, white mist curling up in the warm lamplight.
Bad dream?
Yeah,
Nick isn't in New York anymore.
I know.
I won't let anyone hurt you.
That sentence was soft, like stating a fact. But when he said anyone, my heart skipped a beat. Not fear, something else. Like someone tapping on a frozen lake, water stirring beneath the ice.
Why are you being nice to me?
Because you're my wife.
Contractual wife.
On paper. But you're a person.
He said you're a person in a flat tone, like saying today is Wednesday or the coffee is cold. But his fingers tightened slightly, his thumb brushing gently over the back of my hand. Moonlight streamed through the window onto the screen. Shadows of flowers and birds fell on the wall, like an ink painting. Plum flammer shadows swayed gently in the breeze, like real wind was blowing. Neither of us spoke. The day Mom was discharged, I waited for her at the hospital entrance. The sun was warm, like a thin blanket covering me. The ginkgo trees at the door were turning yellow, leaves shaking gently in the wind, a few falling down, spinning. She wore a new sweater, bought by the nurse, sent by me. Light blue wool, with a circle of white patterns on the collar. She was in a wheelchair, pushed out by the caregiver. When she saw me, she smiled, the wrinkles on her face spreading like a flower blooming in the sun. She took my hand and looked at my belly. A mother's eyes were always sharper than anyone else's.
Isabelle, you're pregnant?
Yeah. I waited, but she didn't ask if the father was that good man. She just touched my belly and smiled.
Grandma's finally going to be a grandma.
Her palm was warm, pressed against my belly through my clothes. Something moved gently inside me. I couldn't tell if it was the baby or just my imagination. Sebastian didn't come to the hospital, but he sent a driver to pick us up. Mom got into the black Maybach, looked around, touched the leather seat, then pulled her hand back, like she was visiting a museum.
Your husband is very rich.
Yeah.
Is he good to you?
He's okay. She was quiet for a moment. The car drove out of the hospital gate, sunlight casting patches of light on the window.
Okay isn't enough.
Her face flashed bright and dark in the light. I didn't answer. E drove over the Manhattan Bridge, the apartment in Brooklyn getting farther away. Seagulls flew over the river outside, white wings shining in the sun. Mom looked out the window and suddenly said,
Your father was rich too. But he wasn't good to you.
I didn't know how to reply. She didn't say anything else either. The car stopped downstairs from the apartment. I helped her out. She stood steady, looked back at the building. It was tall, the top floor glass curtain wall reflecting the blue sky.
Do you live on the top floor?
Yeah.
Is it cold?
No. She nodded and walked slowly into the building. I followed behind, watching her thin back. Her hair was all white, like snow in the sun. I had to attend the Black Group anniversary gala. A designer came to take measurements, a Frenchman with a strong accent. He measured my best, waist, hips, shaking his head as he measured, muttering to himself. Finally, he delivered a dark blue velvet dress, high-waisted to cover my belly. The dress was light, sliding over my skin like water. The neckline was studded with tiny sequins that sparkled under the lights. A makeup artist did my hair, pulled back neatly, exposing my ears and neck. She put pearl earrings on me, 2 small ones, glowing softly under the light. The person in the mirror looked strange, not like a woman who'd signed her life away, but a real lady. He was waiting for me at the entrance of the banquet hall. He wore a new suit, dark gray, with a small white flower in his pocket. What's wrong?
Nothing.
His voice was calm, but I noticed the tip of his ear turning slightly red. His hand rested on my lower back. Not too close, not too far, just right. Warmth came through the fabric of my dress. Not cold, not hot, like a glass of warm water.
People came to toast. He only drank sparkling water.
She's pregnant.
There was something natural about the way he said those 3 words.
Mrs. Black, how did you two meet?
Introduced by a friend.
I looked down and sipped some juice. Introduced by a friend. Introduced by a contract. The human kept staring at me, her gaze unfriendly.
She stood by the champagne tower in the corner, wearing a red dress, lipstick the same color.
She looked at me like a knife, cutting me little by little from a veil. I later found out she was Nick's mother, my father's mistress. She didn't come over, didn't speak. But the way she looked at me reminded me of a word. Love me, hate my house. During the intermission, I went to the bathroom to touch my makeup. The bathroom was huge, bright lights. I had dark circles under my eyes, not from crying, but from smudged mascara. I wiped it off little by little with a cotton swab and redid it. My hand shook a little, but the lines were straight. I took 3 deep breaths in the mirror and walked out. He was standing in the corridor outside the bathroom, leaning against the wall, hands in his pockets. When he saw me come out, he stood straight, said nothing, just held out his hand. I looked at him and put my hand in his palm. The letter came tucked inside the newspaper. No postmark, no sender. My name was printed on the envelope. He didn't even dare to sign it. White envelope, plain A4 paper, folded 3 times.
When I opened it, Sebastian was heating milk in the kitchen.
I unfolded the letter. Only a few lines, printed, default font. Dear sister-in-law, you think I'm gone? I'm not. I'm waiting for a better time. When your baby is born, when the media pays attention to the Black family again, then I'll tell the whole world the truth. You signed a contract. You're carrying my child. Guess if Sebastian will still want you then? My fingers started shaking. The paper rustled in my hands. He walked toward me, holding a glass of milk. Upon seeing the contents of the letter in my hand, the cup he held froze in mid-air. Is he back? He put the cup down, took the letter, and read it. His expression didn't change, but I saw his knuckles wide-eye as he held the letter.
I'll protect you.
You can't. He's everywhere.
Then I'll take you somewhere he can't find you.
Where?
Switzerland. I have a house there.
He turned around, picked up his phone, and dialed a number.
Arrange a plane. Tomorrow. Yes, 2 people. No, 3.
He hung up and looked at me.
Pack your things. Only the essentials. We'll buy the rest when we get there.
My hands were still shaking as I packed. I folded my clothes neatly into the suitcase, one by one, as if forcing myself to do something thoughtless. He stood in the doorway, watching me pack.
You don't need to bring that much.
I'm used to being prepared.
I'll prepare everything when we get there.
I stopped and looked up at him. Why are you helping me?
You're my wife.
There it was again. Contractual wife, on-paper wife. But the way he said it was different from before. Before it was like reading a document. Now it was like saying something important. The villa by Lake Geneva was quiet. No reporters, no paparazzi, no Nick. Only snow, only the lake, only us. The villa was wooden, hidden on the mountainside, surrounded pine trees. From the Trondo you could saw the entire Lake Geneva. The lake was frozen, reflecting the gray sky like a huge mirror. Snow was thick on the roof and grass, sinking up to the ankles when you stepped on it. The air was cold but clean. Every breath was like drinking ice water. He walked with me every day, along the lake, slowly. His hands were in his pockets, not holding me, but he stopped to wait for me. When the wind was strong, he stood sideways to block it, his ears red from the cold. The snow was slippery. I wore non-slip boots but still slipped a few times. Every time I tilted, his hand came out of his pocket to hold my arm, then quickly pulled back. Aren't you going to work?
The company has a CEO.
Aren't you worried about Nick?
He's in New York, not Switzerland.
Are you afraid of him?
No, but I'm worried about you.
He didn't look at me when he said worried about you, like he was talking to himself. His gaze fell on the distant lake, where a few people were skating, red coats standing out on the white ice. One day we walked far, to a small wooden bridge. The bridge was old, the planks blackened. The lake under it was frozen, thick ice, with bubbles visible below. White, round, frozen in the ice, like strings of pearls. He suddenly stopped.
I came here when I was little.
With your parents?
With my mother. She loved Switzerland, said it was quiet, no one would bother us.
What happened later?
Later, she died, cancer. She came to my mother's funeral clad entirely in red. She is my current stepmother.
His voice was that calm, but I knew it was hidden under ice. You couldn't see it, but it was always flowing. The wind blew, snow falling from the pine trees onto his shoulder. I wanted to say something, but nothing came out. I just reached out and brushed the snow off his shoulder. He looked at me, said nothing, but didn't pull away. My feet swelled. I couldn't fit into any shoes, only wore slippers in the snow. My ankle is severely swollen, the skin stretched tight and shiny. When pressed, it turns slightly red, and it takes ages for the redness to fade.
He bought a pair of soft-soled shoes, 2 sizes too big, plush lining, light brown, with a circle of white fur around the top, like Santa's boots. I froze when he took out the shoes.
Where did you buy them?
Online.
You picked them yourself?
Yeah.
He placed the shoes on the ground, squatted down, and helped me put them on. His fingers were long and cold. I flinched when they touched my ankle. Cold.
He pulled his hand back, rubbed it, then reached out again. Still cold, but not as cold. He held my ankle, slipped the shoe on, tied the laces, slowly, carefully, like my feet were made of porcelain.
You don't have to do this.
I said I'd protect you.
You're protecting the baby.
The baby is in your belly. How can I protect the baby without protecting you?
I walked far in those shoes. Snow was still falling, on his hair, his shoulders. Small, fine snowflakes, like salt. His black hair turned grayish-white. He didn't look like a billionaire, just an ordinary man walking with his pregnant wife. When we got back to the villa that day, he made melt wine. The smell of cinnamon and oranges filled the living room, warm, like wrapped in a blanket. The fireplace crackled, logs burning red, occasionally spitting sparks. I sat in front of the fireplace. He sat opposite.
The firelight softened his sharp features. There was firelight reflected in his eyes, like 2 small pieces of charcoal.
Ultrasound at the Swiss doctor's. The clinic was small, on the 2nd floor of an old building, window facing the lake. The doctor was an old man with white hair, gold-rimmed glasses, English with a German accent. He put the probe on my belly. 2 small shadows appeared on the screen. The 2 shadows wiggled. One curled up, like a baby curled in its sleep. The other stretched its legs, like doing yoga. Their tiny fingers moved, 5 thin digits like starfish tentacles.
Girls, both of them.
He didn't speak, but his hand reached over, covering my belly through my clothes.
Hi, I'm Daddy.
His voice was soft, like talking to a scared kitten.
Hi.
So soft I almost missed it. Something fluttered inside me. Not the baby, but butterflies. Maybe they heard. The doctor stepped out. We were alone, except for the hum of the ultrasound machine. He knelt down and pressed his ear to my belly, listening for a secret. His hair rubbed against my clothes. A few white strands stood out in his black hair. They're calling you.
Calling what?
I don't know, but they're moving.
He smiled. Not just a twitch of the mouth, a real smile. His eyes curved like crescent moons. Fine lines appeared at the corners. Cracks in the ice, but cracks didn't always mean broken.
I looked at his smile and suddenly my nose tingled. Not from sadness, from happiness. Nick found Switzerland with a fake passport. He stayed at a small hotel in town. The town only had one main street, with a bakery, post office, grocery store, and a red mailbox. The hotel was in a gray stone building. The 2nd floor window faced the street, curtains tightly closed. He sent a text. I'm here. Surprise? I was peeling orange on the living room sofa. My phone lit up. I looked down, and the orange fell from my hand. I showed him the phone. He glanced at it, his face unchanged, but his hand was steady as he picked up his phone. He dialed a number.
Hello? I need to report a crime. Someone entered the country illegally.
His voice was calm, like making a restaurant reservation. He hung up and looked at me.
It's okay.
What will he do?
The police will find him. Deport him.
The Swiss police arrived at the hotel 20 minutes later. I stood at the entrance of the bakery across from the hotel and, through the glass window, caught sight of Nick's face. He smiled when he saw me. That smile was eerie, not one of anger, nor of triumph, but of relief. They seized him. He offered no resistance. He merely glanced back at me, then looked toward Sebastian. His lips moved. He said,
Sorry.
I didn't know who he was saying it to. He was taken away. The baker poked his head out to see the excitement, then went back to kneading dough. Everything went back to quiet, like nothing had happened. On the plane back to New York, Sebastian leaned back and closed his eyes. The cabin lights were dimmed. Only the reading light was on, casting a small glow on his face. His eyelashes were long. He didn't look like an iceberg when he slept. Just an ordinary person who got tired and had nightmares. He woke up when the plane landed and saw me looking at him.
Did I fall asleep?
Yeah.
You were watching me the whole time?
No. Yes?
The corner of his mouth lifted slightly. New York unslowly in the night outside. Thousands of lights, like an upside-down starry sky. The nursery was ready. 2 cribs stood side by the window. White railers, pink sheets, soft mattresses on the beds, slowly bouncing back when pressed. A comfort doll on each bed, a rabbit, a bear, both light pink, fluffy. Cartoon wallpaper on the walls, clam running on the grass, rabbits, squirrels, a hedge wearing a scarf. The wallpaper was matte, with a slight grainy feel.
How did you know I like pink?
I didn't, but girls probably like it. You should have asked me.
You didn't ask.
I'm asking you now.
I like light purple.
I'll change it next time.
And he really did change it later. Not the wallpaper, but a set of light purple sheets and curtains, with a string of handmade lavender dried flowers hanging above the cribs. The dried flowers were light purple, strung with hemp rope, hanging on the white railings, swaying gently in the wind. I didn't know where he found them. Maybe ordered from Provence. He wouldn't say. I wouldn't ask. That afternoon, I sat on the nursery floor, hanging the dried flowers one by one. He stood next to me, passing the rope.
Sebastian,
Yeah?
did you have a nursery when you were little?
Yeah?
What color?
No?
What color do you like?
I don't know. Never thought about it.
I looked at his side face. He was looking down, holding a string of dried flowers, serious as if signing a contract. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling on him, stretching his shadow long on the floor. You can think about it now.
Light purple?
Mom called. I was cooking conch in the kitchen, the rice bubbling, white soup forming circles around the pot. My phone was cashioned between my ear and shoulder. I stirred the conch with one hand, held a spoon with the other.
Isabelle, I found a letter under the bedboard in your old room.
What letter?
From your father.
The conch boiled over, soup spilling onto the stove, hissing white smoke. I turned off the stove and put down the spoon. Did you read it?
I did.
He said he's sorry.
Not sorry for going bankrupt. Sorry for not being there to watch you grow up. He said he hoped you'd have a better life than him, not to bet your life like he did.
I stood in the kitchen, the smoke still rising from the stove, the smell of rice filling the air. Manhattan's skyline sparked in the sun outside the window.
I burned, you don't mind, do you? Good.
She hung up. The congee was cold. The soup had canoodled on the stove into a white film. He walked in, saw me standing still, frowned.
What's wrong?
Mom found a letter. From Dad.
What did it say?
He said he's sorry. He didn't speak. Walked to the stove, picked up a rag, wiped the spilled conch. Skilled
You okay?
movements, not like he'd never done this before.
You're not.
I looked at him. He turned on the faucet, washed the rag, wringed it dry, folded it, put it by the sink. Then he turned to look at me.
He didn't lose at the gambling table. He lost you.
I don't know why, but when I heard that, tears fell. Not crying. Tears just fell one by one down my cheeks. He didn't speak, just stood there looking at me. No tissue, no hug, no don't cry. He just stood there and watched me cry. When I finished, he poured a glass of hot water and handed it to me.
Drink.
I took the cup and drank. The water was perfect temperature. 2 babies moved inside me, like 2 little fish swimming around. Sometimes a kick on the left, a kick on the right, like fighting. Sometimes with moved at the same time, like having a party. My belly swelled and fell, like waves rolling. I put my hand on my bell, like telling me, we're here, we're okay. Sebastian came home late from a meeting one day. It was almost 11 when the door opened. He changed shoes at the entrance. I turned over when I heard him. The babies were still kicking, keeping me awake.
He walked into the bedroom, saw me lying on my side, hand on my belly, frowning.
Still awake?
They won't let me sleep.
Stop kicking. Mommy needs to sleep.
His voice was low, soft, like talking to two little babies. It got quiet inside me. Not right away, slowly. Like someone turning off a radio, turning the knob slowly, music fading away. I looked at him. They listen to you.
They're scared of me.
Why?
Because I don't smile.
You look good when you smile. He lowered his head, like thinking if I was serious. He didn't say anything later, walked behind the screen, turned off the light to sleep. I heard him turning over behind the screen, then quiet. Sebastian?
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Nick was put on trial and sentenced to 5 years. He didn't appeal. Only a dozen seconds of footage aired on the news. Wearing an orange prison uniform, with short hair and a gaunt face, he was led into court by bailiffs, head hung low. Sebastian decided to go to see him once. He put on a dark gray sweater instead of his suit. He hesitated for a moment at the entrance, then picked up his keys and left. When he came back, he didn't say a word.
How is he?
He's okay.
Do you hate him?
No,
Why?
because he made me realize family is more important than money.
I broke the silence and asked him about Nick and whether he still held hatred in his heart. To my surprise, he let it all go. This whole incident made him see the truth. Family means far more than wealth. He walked into the study and closed the door. I could hear him talking on the phone in a low voice inside. He went to bed early that night, curled up on the sofa like a cat. I covered him with a light purple fluffy blanket gently. He moved a little but didn't wake up. Moonlight fell on his face. His brows were relaxed and his lips slightly parted, as if he was talking in his sleep. I leaned close to listen, but heard nothing. An urge came over me to kiss his forehead. But I didn't. I was his contract bride, not his real wife. I pulled the blanket up over his shoulders, then walked back to my bed and turned off the light. Contractions started right after we got back from the supermarket. Bags held strawberries and yogurt. He carried them. I walked in front. The smell of strawberries came out of the bag, sour and sweet. The sun was bright, warm on my body. Suddenly, my lower abdomen tightened, like someone twisting it inside. I stopped, held onto the wall. He dropped the bags and ran over. Bags fell on the ground, strawberries rolling everywhere, red and white, scattered on the gray ground like blood.
What's wrong?
Probably false contractions.
What do you mean, probably?
It means maybe. He helped me sit down, then called the doctor. I heard him talking to the doctor in the hallway, urgent, fast, like negotiating. Later, the doctor said it was normal, not premature, but to rest.
He took a long leave. His study was moved next to the bedroom. Door open. The blue light from his computer screen shone on his face. He frowned, looking fierce. His phone rang. He answered in a cold tone, like talking to an enemy. He turned around when he hung up. Tone changed.
Any discomfort?
None. Just hungry.
What do you want to eat?
Tomato and egg noodles.
He put down his computer and went to the kitchen. Sounds of chopping, water, spatula. The smell of tomatoes, eggs, and burnt oil filled the kitchen. He came out with a bowl of noodles, sweating. His wet bangs stuck to his forehead. Black stains were still on the spatula. Tomato sauce on his fingers. I took a bite.
Is it salty?
A little?
I'll use less salt next time.
When is next time?
Tomorrow.
I dreamed about Mom, that she stood in white light, wearing a white dress, hair loose. She smiled at me, gently, like when she rocked me to sleep as a kid.
Isabelle, you're going to be a mom.
Mom, I'm scared.
Scared of what?
Scared I won't be good at it.
You will, because you're my daughter.
I dreamed about Mom. I woke up with a wet pillow. He was sitting by the bed, holding my hand. The desk lamp was on, warm light, casting his shadow on the wall.
Bad dream?
No. I dreamed about Mom.
What did she say?
His thumb brushed the back of my hand. His hand was warm, thin calluses on his palm rubbing my hand. A little rough, but reassuring.
She's right.
I looked at him. There were red lines in his eyes, from not sleeping or maybe crying. He wouldn't tell me. I wouldn't ask. The sky was just lightning outside. Manhattan's skyline was a gray-blue line in the morning light. The tip of the Empire State Building was lit like a candle.
Sebastian,
Yeah.
have you ever dreamed about your mom?
A long silence.
Yes.
What did she say?
She said you deserve to be happy.
Naming our daughters. He showed me his phone. A long list of names, English, French, Italian, from A to Z, every letter. Each name had meaning and origin marked, like a research report. How do we choose?
You decide.
Why not you?
I'm afraid I'll pick the wrong one.
I froze. A man in charge of $1 billion empire, afraid of picking the wrong name for his daughters. I scrolled through. My finger slid across the screen. A, B, B, C. Stopped at one name. Isabella, for the older one.
The younger one?
Sophia.
He typed the two names, stared at them for a long time. His finger stayed on the screen for a long time, then he nodded.
I woke up to drink water that night, heard his voice from the nursery, soft, like talking to someone. I quietly walked to the door, didn't push it open. Through the crack, I saw him standing by the critted, holding his phone, screen light on his face.
Isabella, Sophia. Isabella, Sophia.
Over and over, like practicing, like confirming, like carving the names into his bones.
I woke up from a nap that afternoon and saw him carving on the crib headboard with a small knife, stroke by stroke, serious. Wood chips fell on his fingers, white, fine. He frowned, lips pressed tight, like doing something very important. I walked over to look. Isabella, Sophia, neat handwriting, like his signature. Even strength, even spacing, like printed. How do you carve so neatly?
I practiced.
Where did you practice? He didn't answer. Later, I found a piece of mud in his studio drawer, covered with Isabella and Sophia, some crooked, some uneven. The last line was exactly the same as on the crib. He practiced many times on the wood before daring to clough on the real crib. My water broke. 3 a.m. I was asleep when I suddenly felt wetness beneath me. I woke up, lifted the kilt.
Sebastian.
Rustling sounds came from behind the screen. He ran over barefoot.
What's wrong?
My water broke.
His face turned white instantly. He picked me up and ran to the garage. In the elevator, he kept looking at my face, lips trembling. I wanted to say it was okay, but contractions hit, too painful to speak. He drove himself. The streets were empty in the early morning. Streetlights recloised one by one. He held my hand the whole way, fingers intertwined, tight. He ran a few red lights. I didn't know. Nurses stopped him at the hospital. Family waits outside.
I'm her husband.
Please wait outside. He drove himself. Lights flashed overhead, upside-down stars, upside-down meteor shower. He yelled something behind me. I didn't catch it. The corridor was long. The gurney was fast. Wind blew past my ears, cold. I looked back. He stood at the end of the corridor behind the automatic door closing slowly. His figure got smaller and smaller, blurred, finally blocked by the door. I was in labor for 10 hours, maybe 12. Contractions came in waves, like ocean tides. Each contraction felt like someone twisting a towel in my stomach. Twist, release, twist again. I bit my lip. It broke, blood in my mouth. The nurse told me to breathe deeply. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I followed, but every breath felt like swallowing a blade. He stood outside the whole time, never left. Later, the nurse told me he moved a chair to the delivery room door and sat there, motionless. Nurses asked if he needed water. He shook his head. Asked if he needed to call someone. He shook his head. He just sat there, like a statue. One nurse said his lips were always white, face always gray. He stared at the delivery room door, not blinking, like waiting for news that would never come. The babies cried loud when they were born. 2, one after another. Isabella cried first, like a kitten, thin, sharp. Sophia followed, louder, more forceful, like protesting being woken up.
Nurses brought them out. His hand shook as he took the first one. His whole hand shook, from fingertips to wrist, like a branch in cold wind. The other was held by another nurse.
Twin baby girls. Mom and babies are safe.
His eyes turned red. I was wheeled out. He stood in the corridor. Red eyes, red nose. Holding one daughter, the other in the stroller. Isabella was wrapped in light blue, eyes closed, mouth opening and closing. Sophia had her eyes open, black eyes moving around, looking at a strange world.
Ella, you did so good.
He called my name, not Isabelle. Ella. I froze, realizing it was my real name, the name I picked for myself. Isabelle was fake. Ella was real. But no one ever cared. How did he know?
How did you know?
Your assistant told me.
Who do they look like?
They look like you. Why are you crying?
I'm not crying.
He looked into my eyes, dark gray, no longer cold. There was light. His hand was still cold, but it didn't matter when I held it.
Yeah.
Sebastian, I love you.
They'll get used to it.
Yes.
It was the first time he'd said yes instead of maybe or perhaps. He said it with such certainty, like making a promise. We drove over the Manhattan Bridge. Seagulls flew over the river below. Their white wings shone in the sun, circling above the water, then diving down to catch a fish. Isabella smiled in her sleep, probably dreaming of something nice.
Ma was waiting for us at home. She stood up from her wayshare, telled the minneswam, and leaned on tiptoes to look into the car. Her hair was all white fluttering in the wind. Genzings narrow, Twitrin slightly oakened, like she'd been waiting for something for a long time.
Sebastian parked the car, opened the back door, and carefully unbuckled the safety seatbelt. He picked up Isabella, so gently, like holding a piece of porcelain dot. The baby was so tiny in his arms, like a little bird. Mom held out her hands. He hesitated for a moment, then handed her the baby. Mom held Isabella, looked at her wrinkled little face, and smiled.
She looks like you.
Like who?
Like Isabelle when she was little.
Sebastian turned to look at me. Sunshine fell on the three of them. Didn't say a word. Suddenly, I realized this was what I'd always wanted. Not money, not a contract, not $5 million. This. He wrote me a letter from prison. Handwritten, messy handwriting. Some ink smudged like tears had fallen on it. The paper was prison issue. Gray, rough, worn at the edges.
The envelope was stamped with the prison postmark, dated last week. I read the letter twice. First time fast, like finishing a task. Second time slow, word by word. Then I put it in the drawer. No reply needed. He owed me more than an apology. He owed me 5 years of nightmares. But he was right. I wasn't a tool.
He walked into the bedroom and saw me sitting by the bed, lost in thought.
Nick's letter?
Do you want to reply?
No,
Why?
because he already knows he was wrong. That's enough.
Do you still have nightmares?
Less.
If you do, wake me up.
You sleep so deeply I can't wake you.
If you call, I'll wake up.
I looked into his eyes. Dark gray, no longer cold. There was light. Okay. Isabella and Sophia were 3 months old. They could smile. Isabella smiled with her mouth wide open, showing her pink gums. Sophia smiled with her eyes curved, exactly like Sebastian when he smiled. They could grab things. Isabella liked to pull my hair and wouldn't let go, making me wince. Sophia liked to grab Sebastian's tie, put it in her mouth, covering it with drool. They fought over the same racket, not really fighting. One grabbed it, the other took it back, then cried, then laughed again. Sebastian got up at 5 every morning, fed them, changed diapers, put them to sleep. Then went to work, often with milk stains and drool prints on his suit. No one dared to remind him. No one needed to. When he brought the girls to the office, everyone whispered, "The boss has changed." Had he changed? I didn't know. But the way he looked at me had changed. Before, he looked at me through the cracks of the contract. Now, he'd put the contract away.
Isabelle, no.
Yeah?
Ella, the contract still has 1 year and 10 months left.
I know.
I want to change it.
Change what?
To forever.
For a second, I thought I'd misheard, but he looked me in the eye, didn't repeat, didn't explain. He just waited for my answer. The study light was dim, only the desk lamp on, wrapping him in glow, half his face bright, half in shadow, serious as signing a $1 billion contract. Why?
Because I want to see you every morning when I walk downstairs. I want to watch Isabella and Sophia grow up. I want to sit in the front row with you at their weddings.
Did the contract say any of that?
No?
Then how can you promise you'll do it? He stood up, walked around the desk to me.
With this?
He took my hand and pressed it to his heart. Through his shirt skin, I felt his heartbeat. Hotter than I imagined, stronger than I imagined. Thump, thump, like a drum.
Sebastian, are you proposing to me?
Yes.
No ring, no flowers, no kneeling. What kind of proposal is this?
The kind where I'm bad at this.
Novzine laughed, in Switzerland, the snow, by the fireplace. But he still froze every time I laughed, like a child seeing flowers bloom for the first time.
Okay, then.
Okay, what?
Okay. I accept.
Forever.
He just took a calendar the next day, crossed out the contract expiration date, and wrote forever. A small dot at the end of the last stroke like hesitation. Like confirmation. I asked him why he didn't buy a ring.
I was afraid you'd say no. Rings can be returned. Contracts can't.
Aren't you afraid now?
Not anymore. Because you already said yes.
Sophia stood up, holding the railing, smiled at us, two tiny white teeth showing, white, tiny, like 2 grains of rice. He picked up one daughter. The other reached for him too. He held one in each arm, both girls giggling. Isabella pulled his ear. Sophia grabbed his nose. He winced, but didn't let go.
Dada.
Say it again.
Dada.
He buried his face in her shoulder. I saw his shoulders shake slightly. I walked over, put my arms around all 3 of them. His body tensed, then slowly relaxed. He leaned his head on my shoulder, didn't say a word. We stood there, in the nursery, between the 2 cribs. Today is our 2nd wedding anniversary. Not the correctional one, but the first day of forever. He brought me sunflowers instead of roses, golden petals and brown centers, like little suns. He said sunflowers were like me, always facing the light. But he was the one who brought light into my life. He tied my shoes in the snow, waited outside the delivery room all night, left notes for breakfast, researched pregnancy recipes late at night, carved names on the crib, and blocked the wind for me by the lake. These little lights pulled me out of the dark, little by little. We sat on the living room carpet. Isabella and Sophia played with colorful building blocks beside us. Isabella handed blocks to Sophia again and again. Sebastian.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time I went to see your mother? You lied. You said she passed away, but you just hid her.
How'd you find out?
Your assistant told me.
When did you start checking on me?
The first time you made me ginger tea, because a man who is kind to a contract wife will never treat his own mother badly. He held out his hand and laced our fingers together tightly, just like that day on the way to the hospital. His hands used to be cold, but now they were warm. The girls knocked over the block tower. Sophia froze, while Isabella laughed. The 2 little girls clapped and laughed happily. Outside, Manhattan's skyline lit up at dusk with thousands of lights. Our light was among them. It was not the brightest, but steady, and it would never go out. My name is Ella Black. I'm a dancer, a wife, and a mother. I once thought I was sold, but later I realized I earned all of this. It took a long time, but it was worth it. My name is Ella Black. 3 years ago, I entered into an arrangement with a billionaire. The contract's gone up in flames. Its ashes still lie in the kitchen sink. Today's my birthday, March 21st, the very first day of spring. Bathed in morning light, Manhattan's skyline glows like a golden streak outside the window. My girls are still asleep. I stand in the kitchen, brushing my fingers over the ashes in the sink with a soft smile. Sebastian told me last night he'd take us to Central Park to see the cherry blossoms today. It's 6 in the morning when the doorbell rings. It's not a delivery, nor a neighbor. It's the police. Through the peephole, I spot 3 officers in bulletproof vests, their metal badges glinting under the hallway lights. My heart skips a beat. I pull open the door, and a cold gust of wind sweeps inside.
We have a search warrant. Your husband, Sebastian Black, is suspected of multiple financial irregularities, duty violations, and a serious criminal case.
What criminal case is it?
Nick Black, your brother-in-law. He passed away unexpectedly in his Brooklyn apartment early this morning, and the police have launched an investigation.
At the end of the hallway, Sebastian walks down the stairs in his bathrobe. His hair is messy, yet his deep gray eyes are as calm as a frozen winter lake, showing no emotion. He glances over at me.
I didn't kill him.
The officers pull out handcuffs. The clink of metal cuts sharply through the quiet morning living room. Cries ring out upstairs. 3-year-old Isabella has woken up. She doesn't understand what murder means, but she can hear the fear in my voice. Sophia starts crying too. Their combined wells slice through my heart like a dull blade.
Mrs. Black, you can't go up there for now.
Handcuffed, Sebastian heads for the door, his slippers tapping softly on the floor. Right before stepping outside, he stands with his back to me and makes our secret signal, 2 fingers tapping twice on the handrail. It meant one thing, as we'd agreed. Don't be afraid. But I'm terrified. Not because he's being taken away, but because Nick is dead. And Sebastian didn't do it. Who's the real killer? Why frame him? The sound of the police car fades down the street. I stand in the doorway, my pajamas fluttering in the morning breeze, while my daughter's cries still echo upstairs. I stand in the doorway, my pajamas fluttering in the morning breeze, while my daughter's cries still echo upstairs. The police interrogation room has plain white walls and no windows. The fluorescent lights buzz nonstop, like flies trapped under glass. The air reeks of disinfectant mixed with the musty stench of old carpet.
Sebastian sits in a bolted metal chair. His handcuffs are removed, leaving red marks around his wrists. 2 detectives sit across from him. The older Morales, gray-haired, with heavy-lidded eyes, looking half asleep, and the younger Chun, in his early 30s, sitting rigidly straight, with his shirt collar tight, tense as a coiled spring.
Mr. Black, what was your relationship like with your brother Nick Black?
Terrible.
He got your wife pregnant, didn't he?
Sebastian taps his left ring finger lightly on the table, a nervous habit he might not even realize he has.
That was a misunderstanding. The girls are mine.
Chen slides a report across the table to him, stamped with official red ink.
DNA test results prove Nick Black is the biological father of the twins.
On the other side of the one-way mirror, I clenched my fists until my nails dig into my palms. A DNA test. When was this done? Why was I never told? For 3 years, I believed these girls were his, and they are. No matter what the DNA says, he is their father.
Where were you between 11 p.m. last night and 2 a.m. this morning?
At home.
Can anyone confirm that?
My wife.
Mr. Black, under New York state law, a spouse's testimony requires additional supporting evidence.
Sebastian falls silent. He looks past the two detectives, straight at the one-way mirror. He knows I'm here. His lips move soundlessly, and I read them clearly. Don't be afraid.
I didn't kill him, but I know who did.
Who?
Get me a phone, and I'll prove it.
The door swings open, followed by the click of high heels. It's neither a police officer nor a lawyer. A stranger walks in. She's in her 40s, with short hair and a black business dress, her gaze sharp as a blade. She doesn't smile or introduce herself, just sits across from me and crosses her legs. Mrs. Black, I'm Vera Strong. I work for your husband's rivals.
What rivals?
Someone is willing to help you. The terms are simple. Make a public statement saying Sebastian Black is violent and controlling, that you've suffered abuse at his hands. Claim he had every reason to kill his brother.
You want me to lie under oath. It's not a lie, just framing the truth differently. Has he ever thrown things? Raised his voice to you? Neglected you while you were pregnant?
No. Your mother lives alone in Queens, doesn't she? She's all by herself. If something were to happen to her, who would look after her? You have 24 hours to think it over. The click of her heels echoes down the hallway, each step like a nail driven into my heart. I sit there, crumpling the business card in my hand. Night has fallen outside, and the orange glow of street lamps spills across the floor like half-melted candle wax. I've been sitting in the witness waiting room for 6 hours. The hard plastic chair makes my tailbone ache. They took my phone, so I can't call or text to check if the babysitter is looking after my girls. A faded painting of sailboats at sea hangs on the wall. As I stare at it, all I can hear are my daughter's cries from that morning, each one tightening around my throat. I'm released at 1 a.m. I don't get to see Sebastian. My lawyer, Arthur, waits for me outside the precinct, his dark wind-blown hair matching his ashen face.
Mrs. Black, the prosecution has denied bail.
Why?
Mr. Black's fingerprints were found in 3 spots in Nick's apartment: the nightstand, coffee table, and kitchen sink. His cell phone signal was tracked near the apartment during the time of death. Security footage shows a figure with a 90% body match. The DA believes he's a flight risk.
The fingerprints can be explained. He'd visited the place. Cell phone signals can be faked. That figure on camera isn't him. But I know words aren't enough. Courts need hard proof. Arthur drove me home. The streets of Manhattan flowed past the car window, neon lights trailing colorful streaks. My daughters were already asleep. The nanny was sitting on the living room sofa reading. Seeing me enter, she stood up and opened her mouth to speak, but said nothing. I settled her pay and let her go. I head to my daughter's bedroom. Isabella sleeps soundly with her mouth open, breathing softly. Sophia curls up like a shrimp, having kicked her blanket onto the floor. I tuck her in, then sit on the floor between their 2 beds. My phone rings at 3 a.m. It's an unknown number. I answer, and distorted voice comes through the line, robotic and hollow, as if speaking from the bottom of a deep hell.
Do you want to know who killed Nick?
Who is this?
Someone here to help you. Be at Happy Laundromat in Queens tomorrow at 3 p.m. Come alone and tell no one.
Why help me? The call cuts off. I sit in the dark, the phone's pale blue screen illuminating my face like a forensic lamp. Manhattan glows brightly outside, as if nothing is wrong. But I know everything has changed from this moment on. Happy Laundromat sits on a rundown commercial street in South Queens. Its faded sign is missing 2 letters. A dusty 24-hour self-service peels at the edges on the window. It's 3 p.m. and the place is empty. Rows of washing machines and dryers hum away, their rotating drums blending into a low bum. The door of the last dryer in the back is broken and taped shut. I pull it open. There are no clothes inside, just a plain beige envelope with no return address. I tear it open. My inside is a photo. My mother pushing a shopping cart outside a grocery store, wrapped in her old cotton coat, with her hair blowing in the wind. A man stands beside her, his baseball cap pulled low to his face. A printed line on the back read, "Your mom's all alone. I'm sure you don't want anything bad to happen to her." My blood runs cold in an instant.
Sebastian didn't kill Nick. A man known as the Shepherd did. The Shepherd? Harold Swanson? He's in prison. He's out on parole. He hates you. He framed your husband for Nick's murder to lock him away. Next, he'll come for you.
My mouth goes dry. Who exactly are you? Why tell me all this?
I spin around, but there's no one there. The laundromat is empty except for the running machines. Sunlight streams through the grimy windows, casting beams through floating dust. I clutch the photo and envelope and walk outside. Victor's car is parked across the street. He sees how pale I am, says nothing, and starts the engine. When I get home, Arthur is waiting in the living room. He sits on the sofa with an untouched glass of water in front of him. In his 60s, balding with thick-rimmed glasses, he speaks slowly, like reading a last will and testament. I've trusted him for 3 years. He's handled all the Black family's legal work.
Mrs. Black, the prosecution's case is rock solid.
How solid?
Mr. Black's fingerprints were found in 3 locations in Nick's apartment: the bedroom nightstand, living room coffee table, and kitchen sink.
He visited the place a long time ago.
Cell tower records place his phone near the apartment for roughly 40 minutes during the time Nick was killed.
His phone could have been stolen or the signals tampered with.
Security footage captures a figure matching Mr. Black's height, build, and walk at 90%. The person wears a dark coat and hat, hiding their face.
That's not him. Arthur takes off his glasses and polishes the lenses with his shirt head, a habit he's had for years. But this time his hands tremble slightly. I can't tell if it's from the cold or something else.
I believe you, Mrs. Black, but juries don't go by gut feelings. They go by evidence.
Then we need proof that he's being framed.
Who would frame him?
Harold Swanson.
The Shepherd? I thought he was still in prison.
He's out on parole. I hand him the photo and play the audio from the laundromat. He listens in long silence. The grandfather clock in the room ticks steadily, sounding like a countdown.
This person who owes you a favor. Who are they?
I have no idea.
We need to find them.
I study his face, a face I've known for 3 years. Something feels off, but I can't put my finger on it.
I head to Connecticut instead. It's a 2-hour drive out of New York on the highway. City skyscrapers give way to forests, then small towns. Rebecca Swanson lives in a tiny town with just one main street, a bakery, a post office, and an elementary school. Red brick buildings line the road, and American flags flutter outside, their ropes slapping against the flagpoles in the wind.
I wait for her at the school gate when class is let out. Kids pour out with backpacks, laughing and chattering like a flock of free birds. Rebecca is the last to leave. She holds a young boy's hand and bends down to tie his scarf, moving slowly and gently, like a teacher who truly loves children. Mrs. Swanson? She looks up. She has brown hair and eyes, a thin face with high cheekbones. Her smile vanishes the second she sees me, snuffed out instantly like a light unplugged from the socket.
Do I know you?
My name is Ella Black. I need to talk to you about your father. She lets go of the boy's hand and tells him softly to go find the principal. He runs off, leaving the playground empty. Only the creak of swing chairs swaying in the wind breaks the silence.
I don't talk about my father.
How did your mother die? She found out what your father was doing, then took her own life. She left a suicide note. And you have it.
Who are you, really?
Someone whose life your father ruined just like he ruined your mother's. We head to a cafe across from the school and sit in a corner booth by the window, watching cars pass by on the street. We're the only 2 customers. An old song plays on the counter radio, its soft guitar notes drifting in from afar. Rebecca orders a hot chocolate and cups both hands around the mug, as if warming herself up. I don't rush her. I wait until her hands stop shaking before I speak. Has your father contacted you since he got promoted? He calls once a week. Did he ever say where he's staying? No. He never tells me.
This isn't real evidence. It's just an anonymous call.
I know, but I need your help. Next time he calls, casually ask where he is. Don't make him suspicious.
What are you planning to do?
Find him and make him turn himself come to him. There's no naivety in her eyes, only despair. She already knows the answer, but she needs to hear me say it. I promise. I lied, and she knows it. Still, she nods her head. 3 days later, Rebecca called. I was playing building blocks with my daughters in the living room, and my hands froze the second my phone vibrated.
He's staying on Long Island, in a small house by the sea. It's registered under a friend's name. Her voice was ranky, like she'd been crying.
How did you get him to tell you?
I told him I wanted to visit Then he said no, that it was too dangerous because people were after him. And then he cried.
Rebecca, are you all right?
He's my dad, but he killed someone.
He's done far worse things. You know that.
I know.
She hung up. I sat on the sofa holding my phone, watching the girls build a lopsided tower with blocks. Isabella put a little rabbit figure on top, but Sophia took it away. Instead of crying, Isabella grabbed another one and set it down. They worked together perfectly, like old friends. I didn't go after Swampson right away. Instead, I headed to Brooklyn. The shelter was on a dark street with no street lights. Graffiti covered the house number, and you had to lean in to read it.
Mrs. Black?
What did Nick tell you before he died? He stared down at his dusty sandwich on the ground.
He said someone wanted him to kill Sebastian. He refused. The man said he would kill him instead.
Who was it?
I don't know his real name. Everyone called him the Shepherd.
I had 3 witnesses, the anonymous voice from the laundromat dryer, Rebecca, and Raymond, but none of their statements were solid enough. We couldn't trace the anonymous caller. The jury would doubt Rebecca's words because she's Swanson's daughter, and Raymond, with his criminal record, would never be trusted in court. I needed physical evidence.
Private Detective Victor called, his voice low and grave.
Mrs. Black got something. Swanson bought a burner phone after his parole. The store's security camera caught him on tape.
Can we get the footage?
We don't have time to go through legal formalities.
There was a short pause on the line, followed by the steady clack of Victor typing on his keyboard.
There's another way. We can pay the shop owner.
How much?
$5,000.
I'll pay it. Victor came to my house with a USB drive. I plugged it into the computer and opened the file. It was a 30-second video. The quality was poor, but his face was clearly visible. It was Swanson. He wore a gray coat and a baseball cap pulled low over his forehead. He stood at the counter for less than a minute, paid in cash, grabbed the phone, and left. His face was on screen for barely 2 seconds, yet that was more than enough. I recognized those murky eyes, like mud left behind by the receding tide.
Buying a disposable phone isn't a crime, but he was spotted at a gas station near Nick's apartment the day before. Another camera caught his vehicle.
His own car?
No, it was Rebecca's car.
My heart sank. Swiss used his own daughter's car? Did Rebecca know about it, or was she kept in the dark too? Pull up the gas station footage as well.
Already done.
Victor opened a second video. A gray Honda pulled up to a pump. Swanson got out, filled the tank, paid cash, then drove away. The whole thing took less than 3 minutes, and the license plate was plain to see. It belonged to Rebecca. I didn't call ahead. I drove straight to Rebecca's house. The small town was quiet at night, with no one walking the streets. Street lamps cast warm orange circles of light on the sidewalk. She lived in a cozy wooden cottage. Hydrangea bushes stood by the door, their flowers long gone, leaving only bare branches.
I rang the doorbell and waited for a long while. When she finally answered, she was in her pajamas with her hair loose and eyes swollen from crying. She kept the security chain on at first, then removed it when she saw it was me.
You've been crying? She stepped aside and let me in. The living room was tiny, with blankets piled on the sofa and an empty wine glass on the couch table, a faint red ring left at the bottom. He called me. He said he's running away, leaving the country for good. He told me he'd never come back, and he said he was sorry. I sat across from her and pulled up the gas station footage on my phone. He used your car?
What car?
I turned the screen toward her. She rushed to the garage, and I followed. The car was still there, but the odometer read 200 more miles than it had the week before. She sank to the floor, knees pulled to her chest, and broke down completely. Her shoulders shook violently as deep, ragged sobs tore through her.
He stole my keys while I was asleep.
You don't lock your doors?
This is a small town. No one locks their doors here. He used me. He's been using me all along.
I knelt down and held her. She was so thin, her bones pressing against my arms. Cold lamplight streamed through the windows and fell across the floor. I handed all the new evidence over to Detective Morales. It wasn't proof of murder, but evidence of a fake cell tower.
Samir, a young telecommunications engineer of Indian descent with thick-rimmed glasses, spoke quickly, as if reciting formulas. His report stated clearly, during the time of Nick's death, Sebastian's cell phone signal was picked up by a fake base station, not the official mobile network.
Someone used a fake cell tower device to mimic Mr. Black's phone number and broadcast signals near Nick's apartment. That's how the network logged his presence there.
Who could do something like this?
You can buy these devices online for a few $100s. It takes basic nickel know-how to operate, nothing too complicated.
Will you testify in court?
Yes.
Morales read through the report twice. His eyes remained half-lished, but I noticed his fingers tap the table twice.
Mrs. Black, I'll file for a full case review, but it will take time.
How long?
At least a week.
Can I see my husband?
This afternoon,
I'll arrange the visit.
The visiting room was separated by a thick sheet of glass, covered with countless scratches left by people pressing their hands against it over the years. He wore an orange inmate uniform. He hadn't shaved, his hair had grown longer, and dark bags hung under his eyes. Yet his deep gray eyes held no anger or fear when he looked at me, only a quiet, unshakable calm. I picked up the receiver, but he beat me to it on his side.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
How are the girls?
They're home with the babysitter.
Don't come to places like this alone. It's not safe.
I don't have a choice. He locked eyes with me through the glass and tapped his fingers twice on the counter, our old secret signal once again. Don't be afraid.
Ella, listen to me. Stop fighting for me. Just take care of our daughters.
What are you talking about?
Swanson wants me, not you. If I plead guilty, he'll leave you and the girls alone.
You're not guilty, so you won't plead guilty.
I will, if it's the only way to keep you safe.
You can't do that.
What?
Don't you dare plead guilty. I'm going to get you out of here.
I hung up without saying goodbye. I saw his lips moving behind the glass, but I didn't stay to listen. I stood up and walked away. The hallway stretched long ahead, its lights flickering overhead. I kept my steps steady, yet silent tears fell onto the tiled floor. I made up my mind to find Swanson myself. Not through lawyers or police. I was going alone. Victor sat in my living room with his arms crossed, his brows drawn tight into a frown.
It's far too dangerous.
He won't kill me. If he does, he loses all his leverage.
How can you be so sure?
I thought through his question. What was Swanson's real goal? It wasn't to kill me. It was to destroy Sebastian, lock him up and leave him with nothing, to make him suffer. If I died, Sebastian would have nothing left to hold on to. He'd stop at nothing to get revenge. Swanson wasn't stupid enough to risk that. He only wants to ruin Sebastian. If I die, Sebastian has no more ties to hold him back. He'll fight back with everything he has. Swanson knows that. Victor fell silent for a long time.
I'll go with you. I'll wait outside.
All right. We drove to Long Island's coastline. Strong winds whipped my hair across my face. Swanson's hideout was a small wooden house with windows facing the ocean. An old Ford sat out front, its windshield covered in dust. I rang the doorbell, but there was no sound. It must have been broken. I knocked on the solid wooden door, the thud dull and heavy. No one answered. I pushed the door. It was unlocked. The living room was pitch dark with all the curtains drawn. Only a thin stream of light filtered in, illuminating floating dust motes. The air reeked of cigarette smoke, mildew, and spoiled over food. The sofa cushions were indented, proof someone had been sitting there moments before. An ashtray on the coffee table was piled high with cigarette butts, many with bite marks on the filters. I walked across the room and pushed open the bedroom door. The bed was messy, covers thrown back, and a few strands of gray hair lay on the pillow. The closet door hung open, hangers lapseway and several empty, like missing teeth. He'd taken clothes and fled. He's gone. The bed's still warm. Victor.
I'll go after him. Stay in the car.
I waited in the car for 20 minutes. Cold, salty sea wind slipped through the window cracks. My grip on the steering wheel was so tight my knuckles turned white. Victor finally returned, looking grimmier than the overcast sky above Long Island.
I lost him. He took a narrow trail where cars can't go.
Did he know we were coming?
Someone must have tipped him off.
Who? Victor didn't say a word, but his gaze spoke volumes. One name hung in the air, Arthur. My own lawyer, Arthur Goldstein. A traitor in our midst. I didn't confront Arthur right away. Instead, I had Victor launch an investigation. Victor had connections, a network of former military comrades, old colleagues, and confidential informants. In 3 days, he uncovered the darkest secret hidden behind Arthur Goldstein's spotless 30-year legal career.
A wire transfer of $50,000
Hit his bank account. It came from a shell company.
The same company that paid Monica years ago?
The very same one.
I was in a daze. Monica, the investigator from the Bureau of Child and Family Services, the one who repeatedly came to my house and drove my mother to fall down the stairs.
He was bribed.
How long has this been going on?
At least a year ago, he was providing Swanson with information about your boyfriend.
His schedule, his finances, everything.
For 3 long years, the man I'd trusted had been working against us. What do we do now?
We keep him in the dark and let him carry on as usual. But we need a new lawyer.
Someone we can trust completely, working behind the scenes.
Who?
Erin Wolf.
A top criminal defense attorney. She has a personal grudge against Swanson.
Why?
Swanson framed one of her clients, an innocent man and father who took his own life behind bars.
She's been waiting for a chance to take Swanson down ever since.
Erin Wolf was in her 50s, with short dark brown hair streaked with gray at the roots. She wore thin gold-rimmed glasses and spoke rapid fire, barely pausing between sentences. Her office occupied the top floor of an old Manhattan office building, with windows overlooking the East River and passing boats. She reviewed every piece of evidence, the fake cell tower report, gas station surveillance scam shots, transcripts of the laundromat audio, and Raymond's recorded statement. She read page after page in total silence, not even blinking.
That's enough.
Enough for what?
Enough to get the charges against Sebastian dropped, but not enough to arrest Swanson.
Then let's focus on getting my husband free first. There's one thing you'll need to do. What is it? You have to go public about the original marriage contract. Let the media know the truth. It will establish Swanson's motive for revenge. He'll be seen as someone out to destroy your husband because of your past conflict with him. The jury will follow that reasoning. This will ruin the Black group's reputation. She took off her glasses and polished the lenses with her sleeve, a gesture identical to Arthur's. But their eyes were nothing alike. Arthur's were dull and clouded, hers were sharp and clear.
Is that worse than Sebastian spending years in prison?
I looked out the window at the slate blue river, watching a barge drift past, leaving a long wake behind it.
I'll do it. New York Times journalist Helen McClinn sat across from me. Her small silver recorder sat on the table, sleek and pointed like a bullet. She jotted notes in a notebook with messy handwriting. Yet every question she asked struck straight to the core.
Mrs. Black, are you absolutely sure you want to share this publicly?
I'm sure.
Let's begin.
I took a deep breath. Sunlight streamed through the window onto my hands, which rest calmly on my knees, steady and unshaken.
My marriage to Sebastian Black began with a formal contract. He paid me $5 million to be his wife for 3 years.
Helen's pen froze midair, her gaze locked on my face.
Is the contract still in your possession?
It was burned to ashes on my birthday. He burned it himself.
Why are you choosing to tell everyone now?
Because someone used this secret to frame him for murder. The man's name is Harold Swanson. He ran an extortion ring, and I was the one who put him behind bars. Now he's out on parole, and he's out for revenge.
What evidence do you have to back these claims?
Everything. Recordings, photos, witness statements. I'll release all of it. The article ran the next day with a bold headline, Billionaire's Secret Marriage and a Devious Conspiracy. It hit over 10 million views within 24 hours. The internet erupted. The comment section was chaotic. Some called me a liar, others hailed me as a hero. Many questioned my motives or wondered why I'd stayed silent for so long, but none of it mattered to me. For the first time, the general public learned Harold Swanson's name. Swanson lost his cool. He called me directly this time. No voice changer, no unknown number. I heard his real voice, old, shorsey, wheezy like a broken bellows.
You think this will force me out of hiding?
There was no threat in his tone, only raw anger, the bitter resentment of an old man cornered by someone he'd always underestimated. You're already out in the Lopen.
You'll regret this.
You've made me regret many things for years, starting with that 15-year-old girl abused by her stepfather. Silence fell on the line. He held his breath completely.
How do you know about her?
Your daughter told me. It was all written in your wife's suicide note. Another long pause followed. Eventually, his ragged breathing returned, heavy and hardened as if he'd just ran a marathon.
Ella Black, you won't win this.
I've already won. You're on the run, hiding away, too afraid to show your face. What else is that but defeat? He hung up the phone. I rose from the sofa and walked to the window. Outside, the Manhattan daylight spread across a bustling scene of towering buildings and a ceaseless stream of traffic. Yet I knew full well that in the shadows of this bustling metropolis, Swanson was lurking in some dark corner, like a wild beast driven to the brink. And he would strike back. Sebastian was released from custody. The prosecution dropped all charges against him. Detective Morales came to escort him out personally. The heavy gunmetal gray doors of the detention center creaked open with a low rumble.
He stepped outside into the sunlight, which he hadn't seen in over 30 days. He squinted and raised the back of his hand to shield his eyes. He'd lost weight and looked older, with deeper lines around his eyes, yet his gaze still shone bright. Those deep gray eyes were like a frozen winter lake, with life and movement hidden beneath the ice.
I waited for him at the entrance, along with our daughters, whom I'd asked the babysitter to bring along. The second Isabella spotted her father, she pulled free from my grasp and ran to throw her arms around his leg. Sophia was a little slower and clung to his other leg.
Daddy's home! Daddy's home!
He knelt down and pulled both girls into his arms. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from holding back his emotions. His shoulders shook, yet no tears fell. He lifted his head and looked straight at me over the tops of our daughters' heads.
How did you manage all this?
I never gave up. He stood up, still holding Isabella in one arm, and reached out for me with his free hand. I took 3 steps forward, and he wrapped his arms around me, holding both me and our daughter close. Isabella giggled, squished between us.
Thank you.
There's no need.
I owed you.
You don't owe me anything. You love me.
I said nothing in reply, because he was right.